So we're going to go on to our next part of the program. And I'd like to welcome Laura Chan, who is with the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, or otherwise known as FedDev Ontario. And she's going to talk about the Investing in Business Innovation Program. This is a program which helps regions in Southern Ontario promote economic development through a focus on a number of things, encouraging young people to enter into science, technology, and engineering and mathematics fields by improving access to capital for new ventures, and also to cultivating commercialization processes for breakthrough technologies. So a little bit about Laura. She is an Economic Development Officer at FedDev Ontario, and prior to joining the public service in 2010, so she's pretty well brand spanking new, Laura spent 14 years in commercial lending and equipment finance with extensive experience in the origination of new business opportunities, risk analysis, transaction execution, and process development. So welcome, and we invite you to speak about the IBI program.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Laura Chan. I'm an Economic Development Officer with the FedDev Ontario. Today, I'm going to give you an overview, an introduction to FedDev Ontario, and an overview of the Investing in Business Innovation Program. And at the end of the session, I'll take questions, and I'll also be available at the networking sessions outside to have one-on-one discussions with you. Just a bit of a background of FedDev Ontario. Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario was created in 2009 as part of Canada's Economic Action Plan to help Southern Ontario respond to the unique economic challenges it was facing at the time. In the first year and a half, FedDev Ontario balanced the priorities of delivering existing Government of Canada programs for Southern Ontario, while also developing new initiatives focused on reshaping Southern Ontario's economy to support economic recovery. The agency itself, FedDev Ontario, is headquartered in Kitchener, with regional offices in Toronto, Ottawa, Peterborough, and Stratford. Our mandate covers Southern Ontario, which is defined by 37 StatScan census divisions. We have over 200 staff delivering on our mandate. FedDev Ontario is working with Southern Ontario and Ontarians to create a Southern Ontario advantage. By investing in people, businesses, and communities, FedDev Ontario will create the conditions for prosperity and provide new opportunities for jobs and economic growth in Southern Ontario. Building a Southern Ontario advantage is FedDev Ontario's approach for returning Southern Ontario to a cycle of prosperity. Our new initiative strengthens Southern Ontario's position in the economy by encouraging young people to pursue education and careers in the STEM fields, resulting in the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs. We're working to increase, stimulate, and leverage private sector investments. We're also supporting communities in the efforts to diversify and become more prosperous. We're also working towards game-changing innovation. In the fall of 2010, FedDev Ontario launched a series of initiatives to address short-term realities while setting in place the conditions to strengthen the economy for the future. These initiatives are designed to strengthen 4 advantages for Southern Ontario. The People Advantage focuses on developing skills through youth STEM, graduate enterprise internship, and scientists and engineers in business. The Knowledge Advantage improves access to knowledge through the Applied Research and Commercialization Initiative, as well as the Technology Development Program. The Entrepreneurial Advantage supports entrepreneurial investment through investing in business innovation. And lastly, the Prosperity Advantage boosts productivity, diversification, and competitiveness through the Prosperity Initiative. In today's session, we're going to concentrate on the Entrepreneurial Advantage and give you an overview of the Investing in Business Innovation Program. We're going to cover who's eligible to apply, investor requirements, the funding for the program, and the application process. For the Investing in Business Innovation Program, we're providing up to $190 million through March 31st, 2014. The program has two main objectives. The first one is to help startup companies bring new innovative products, processes, and practices to market faster by leveraging private sector investment to carry out eligible commercialization activities. Essentially, we're trying to help increase the success rate of startup businesses. The second objective of the program is to support angel investor network and associations in the outreach and promotion activities to attract new investors and increase investment activities in Southern Ontario. There are two streams of applicants for this program. Today, we're going to concentrate on just startup companies. The startup companies as eligible applicants have to be a registered business planning to undertake commercialization activities in Southern Ontario. The company must have less than 50 employees. We're not looking at the length of time of incorporation. We're just looking at the size of employees for the company. And the company must have a signed draft term sheet from a recognized angel and venture capital investor conditional on IBI funding as proof of the funding and commitment. The company must be utilizing mentoring, counseling, and other business support or services from the angel investor or venture capital provider. Priority may be given to startup companies that already have received one round of seed funding, for example, from eligible investors.
Hi, my name is Deb Krismanich, and I'm the President and CEO of PowerNoodle. PowerNoodle is an online collaborative decision-making tool that allows people to come together and answer a question. And they can do that without being in the same room at the same time, which really helps to respect people's intellect. It drives people from creating ideas and solutions to problems to rating them, voting on them, and prioritizing them, and finally driving to an action plan, which is so important. PowerNoodle provides an auto-documented log of everyone's ideas, their decisions, and their actions, so it saves people a lot of time.
That was the CEO of PowerNoodle, a startup company located in Stratford, Ontario. That was the CEO, Deb Krismanich. She is a successful recipient of the IBI funding, and we'll be hearing more from her through several video clips throughout the presentation. Providing an example of what an IBI startup company looks like, and that was one of the companies in the ICT stream. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the investor requirements, since investors' commitment, funding commitment to the company is essential for the IBI program. Essentially, two types of investors qualify as eligible investors in the IBI program: angel investors, and we view them as defined as the investors that meet the Ontario Security Commission's definition of an accredited investor. The angel investor must also belong to an angel investment network in Southern Ontario that is registered with the National Angel Organization. The other type of eligible investor is a VC, a venture capital investor. The VC would have to be registered with the CVCA. The angel or VC investor must be prepared to submit a report to FedDev outlining the due diligence proceedings and findings. Funding for the IBI program, if for the company, you have to look at the project as a total. Basically, the project are pre-commercialization activities. Look at the total project budget. At least 2/3 of the eligible and supported project cost has to be contributed by the investors, and 1/3 from FedDev Ontario, to a maximum of $1 million. So if you take, to illustrate, to take a $1 million maximum request from FedDev, be $1 million from FedDev, $2 million from investors, $3 million for the total project cost. The FedDev funding is disbursed on a reimbursement basis, and the FedDev funding is repayable. I'm going to go back to the video. Just to continue on the project itself, just to remind you, the commercialization activities that we're looking for, the purpose is to move innovative products, processes, or practices closer to market. The eligible activities we're looking for may include product and process applied research, engineering design, technology development, product testing, marketing study, certification, proof of concept, piloting and demonstration, problem solving, and commercialization of IP. So some of these projects could be, for example, for an ICT company, could be shorter in duration, could be a 12-month project, and they would be able to deliver a prototype, and that's the end objective of their project, and that's fine. A life sciences company, for example, their project may be 2 years, 3 years. But the project activities has to end before March 31st, 2014, because that's the commitment for the funding is up until. And these are the list of eligible activities we're looking for in a project. Now, going back to the slide before, we're going to hear from Deb Chrismanic from PowerNoodle again. She's going to talk about the reasons why she applied to IBI program.
I think it was roughly October of 2010, we were working on our long-term product strategy and also how we were going to fund that. At the same time, the FedDev Ontario Investing in Business Innovation Program came about, and it had a couple of really key characteristics that were attractive for us. The first was it allowed us to take a very strategic view of our funding strategy. And strategic because it allowed us to bring groups of angel investors together in various tranches over time so that we could take a long-term view of that funding strategy. That would then allow us to draw upon the FedDev funds as those tranches came forward. The second reason that it was quite attractive to both myself, the entire company, and our shareholders was it was non-dilutive in nature.
The second point that Deb was making was that the FedDev funding is not an equity to the company, is a straight repayable loan. So we're not taking security, and it's not dilutive for investors' position in the company. So it's a very attractive option for startup companies. If you decide that you're in your startup company and you're at the stage of pre-commercialization, that this program is a good match for you, this is the application process. Go to our website, feddefontario.gc.ca, and review the IBI program guidelines. That's also available on the agenda, the direct link to the program guidelines, and connect with the IBI program manager or an IBM project officer like myself to discuss your project. We'll give you a little bit more guidance and to help you along. And the application submitted to FedDev must be accompanied with a draft term sheet and prior to the closing of the investor's funding. And the full application package with all the supplemental documents must be submitted to us within 2 weeks following the original application. Now, applications are assessed on a first-come, first-served basis when they're complete. If there's different pieces of information missing, we're not going to assess the file. The Investing in Business Innovation Program is a very popular program at FedDev. We're not able to provide estimates for the duration of the assessment process at this time. have a last video from PowerNoodle to talk about what the FedDev funding has done for the company.
FedDev's investment in PowerNoodle through the IBI program, which was about $960,000, really has enabled us to do a number of things. First and foremost, it's enabled us to escalate our product plan. We are in a very interesting space right now because there are not a lot of competitors, but I do expect the waters to become shark infested soon. And as a result, the FedDev money will help us protect our IP a little sooner than we were hoping to and have that locked down with patents. So that's critically important for PowerNoodle in the space that we're in. The second thing it's allowed us to do is globalize our products. Although we're made in Stratford and part of the Golden Triangle area, we are a product that is positioned for the global market. And the FedDev funding is going to allow us to play in that global market or play on that global stage a lot more effectively. We're having a really good time, and PowerNoodle is launched in February and is now being used by throughout government, in a number of private sector companies, as well as in education and not-for-profit for things like community engagement, strategic planning, evaluating anything. And in fact, PowerNoodle has just been nominated as the Broadband App of the Year for the Intelligent Communities Forum.
I hope that you find this session informative. Again, my name is Laura Chan. My contact information is here, and I'm available to take any questions right now or through the networking sessions later on.
Any questions for Laura? Sure.
Hi. Thank you for that presentation. That was really informative. As far as the youth STEM support, we've got a primary education startup, and we were wondering, and it's science-based, science-centric, space science specifically, and would you consider supporting us if we were, for elementary schools, essentially?
What we can do is we can talk on a one-on-one basis, so I
Sure.
can hear more about what your company does and what
Sure.
what you're looking at, and see where you fit best within the FedDev initiatives.
Great, thank you.
Could you say more about what you're trying to do in the way of encouraging young people into those different learning streams and how this program works?
Sure. For the young
STEM.
people, for STEM, let me go back to different slides to show you the lineup of all the different programs that we have. Essentially, your questions was directed towards the people advantage. We have 3 different initiatives under that advantage. Youth STEM is, all 3 programs are geared towards not-for-profit organizations as well as post-secondary institutions to apply to us to deliver certain programming and services. For the Youth STEM initiative, we're looking to provide funding to not-for-profit organizations that are already delivering STEM outreach to children from K to 12, grade 12, and to encourage them, to educate them on the science and benefits of staying in school and in the science stream, because we find that the enrollment in science is declining for children. As soon as they can opt out of taking any science in the high school level, we find that a lot of them do that. So we feel that in order to create the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs, we need to encourage young people to continue on the education, at least on the science fields, and perhaps go into university, pursue a science or a STEM type field. So that program is focused on, for the not-for-profit organizations delivering programs to children in that area. We have one announcement so far for successful applicants. Let's Talk Science is a big national organization. They run all kinds of programs, and they just, in April and May, they've gone through all the All Sciences challenge. It's a big event held in different university campuses with volunteers. And basically a lot of great turnout from kids in the grade 7, grade 8 space for sciences. The other two programs, Graduate Enterprise Internship and the Scientists and Engineers in Business, are geared towards young people already in the university sector segment, either graduated from university with a STEM degree or in enroll in a master level or a PhD level. The Graduate Enterprise Internship Program is essentially a support, a salary support for someone with qualified to work in a company for 6 months duration, and FEDEF funding will provide 50% salary contribution for that person. So for any startup companies, actually that's a great program to look into, to tap into a talent and at a subsidized rate. The third program, Scientists and Engineers in Business, this is a program to foster entrepreneurship for people in the STEM field. A lot of young people graduate from university, they're not sure what the career options are. Some people stay in the lab and do research, but some people genuinely have ideas, have innovations that they want to commercialize. This is a program that will provide skills development training and perhaps some startup support for an entrepreneur or innovator to help them continue on that journey of acquiring essential business skills and to move into perhaps starting up a business.
All right. I have a question regarding the requirement for angel or venture capital investors. So you said it's 2/3 of the money should come from them,
yes,
and you match the other third part
yes,
through this program. How does that count the self-funding of the entrepreneur, if there is some money available through other sources, not through angel or VCs? How is that? Does that count with the amount that?
If a founder or management team of the company want to contribute their own funds to the company, that's fine, but we're looking for additional, leveraging additional investors into the company. So for example, within the 2/3 contributed by investors could be 1/3 from the management or the founder and 2/3 from new investors, because we're trying to encourage new investment into Southern Ontario companies.
Hello. You mentioned during your presentation that there is a restriction on the size of the small businesses that are eligible for this program. I'm going to ask if there are any other restrictions on the structure of the company in order to be suitable for this program. And I ask this question for a specific reason. The first thing that popped into my mind looking at this is a postdoc student or a graduate student who's had a summer job at TELUS or Rogers or McDonald Detweiler. And he would look at this and he'd say, wow, what a really good idea. I can go to my summer job, I can get them to contribute 1/3 of the money, I can then go to a venture capital and get them to promise 1/3 of the money if you guys also contribute 1/3 of the money. But if I was going to go to my summer job, they might want some sort of an ownership or an equity position. So that's the context of my question. Are there any other restrictions on the types of companies eligible for this program?
Let me talk about the type of entrepreneurs or startup companies that we've been seeing in our application. Some of them are brand new graduates from the STEM field who have had perhaps co-op experiences at different companies, and but they have a good product, a good idea that they are able to attract investors into the company. So some of these companies are only a few months old, but they have the support, the financial support of investors who have done the due diligence and decide to risk their money and invest in a brand new graduate who has a big idea. So those kind of companies are eligible to apply.
Yes, I have a question in terms of definition of new or startup. Let's say you have an existing company, commercialized product in a technical field, but the base product is modified, adjusted for other applications. or a new technology applied to it, but it's in an existing company that has an existing commercialized product. How do you define that?
That's a permutation that's allowed as well. In a lot of cases, small companies are not able to, don't have access to the kind of capital to take them to the next stage where they bring in innovation. Like they see the gap, they know what kind of technology they need to develop, but they don't have the capital to support that next leap. If they have that kind of situation and they are able to attract investors to support that investment, the R&D investment, those kind of companies are eligible to apply to IBI as well, as long as their employee numbers is under 50.
I just wanted to ask you a question more about the geography of the applicants for the program. It's called Southern Ontario, which of course is a big area, but I'm wondering if it applies equally to large cities or small municipalities.
We've seen applications from all across Southern Ontario. Obviously, from the GTA area, there's a lot more applications. But like, for example, PowerNoodle is located in Stratford, and that's a rural area. So we're seeing applicants or innovative startup companies from all over Southern Ontario.
Great.
Thank you.